Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, the day many Tasmanians have waited 7 months for is finally here. Our state is now open to most of the nation, with the first border bubble flight touching down in Hobart this morning. Tonight, we're joined by our reporters across the state to examine this historic day. Sean McComish is at Hobart Airport, Letitia Wallace at Launceston Airport and Ruby Kamain at Salamanca. Well, first to Sean McComish. Now, Sean, you were at the airport when the flight from Brisbane arrived this morning. What was the mood like?
Well, good evening, Kim. Look, it really was a struggle not to shed a tear. Families were reunited. Long-distance couples were back in each other's arms. For a brief moment, this was probably the happiest place in Tasmania. Just about everybody in the terminal had a story worth sharing. Let's listen to some of them now. A moment 7 months and one 15-minute delay in the making. Tasmania's first border bubble flight from Brisbane arrived around 11 this morning. There was no quarantine for these passengers, just tears of joy as families reunited. The wait to see her nieces felt like an eternity for Emily Myers. Hugs said what words couldn't.
My family's all here. I've been in Queensland by myself. It's just been a really tough year, and obviously as soon as I could get on the plane, I took the first flight I could out of there. Long-distance couple Lucinda and Chris were finally back in each other's arms.
Hi, I'm also from Brisbane. I moved here though at the start of the year, and it's been a long past 6 months. Finally back together again.
Many travelled for what's important in life.
Birth of our new grandson. Yeah, we hadn't seen him for about 4.5 months.
It was family in Queensland. It was nice. It was lovely to go. Sad to come back.
A less than dramatic trip for business traveller Andre Gal, who was first off the plane.
Like any other flight, except wearing these things and a little bit less of an in-flight service, but I guess it's just almost back to normal in a way.
On the other side of the terminal in departures, Tasmanians seize their chance at a holiday.
Just basically a holiday before the baby comes.
It's a bit of a getaway before we're locked down for a while. Probably can't get away, so good timing for us to get away.
My daughter went over last week and she's waiting for me to go, and we'll have the week together over there now, and yeah.
The emotion was still overwhelming.
I'm off to see my daughter, who I haven't physically seen now for 12 months. I want to cry. I'm that excited, yeah, so...
Most of today's flights were packed. The airport is expected to become busier in the months ahead.
Yeah, we will see a ramp up as we move towards summer, and of course we're still interested in seeing Sydney and Melbourne operating cleanly, and when they do open up, we'll of course have significant numbers returning to the state.
Hopefully the wait for Victoria and New South Wales will be over soon. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, let's now cross to our reporter Letitia Wallace, who's at Launceston Airport. Letitia, a lot of work has gone into today.
Good evening, Kim. It has taken a lot of preparation and planning to ensure the arrivals process runs smoothly. Many agencies, including biosecurity, the Health Department, police and our airports, have been ensuring that this all runs in a very safe way.
Words of reassurance from the Premier.
We're ready, we're safe, we're prepared.
Embarking on a mission to minimise the risk of the virus coming back into the state.
Tasmanians, I think, can be comforted by the fact that we have the necessary processes and procedures in place to ensure that we can deal with a rapid response should COVID bubble up here in the state.
From screenings on arrival.
Those coming through the Tassie Traveller pathway will merely get a simple question or two asked of them. They'll have an automatic temperature check and they'll be free to go.
2 police patrols.
Our role here is to support biosecurity and health and to assist with the compliance matters as they come through the airport.
The same process by police and biosecurity will be carried out at the Spirit of Tasmania terminal to give ferry passengers the all clear. The government is confident it has done everything right.
The people that will be coming into the state now are viewed by public health as just as safe as what we are.
But the Greens are concerned about complacency in the community.
We're calling on the government today to apply maximum caution. to make sure that they're reinforcing those significant and indeed critical public health messages.
While Labor claims has been left out of border discussions.
We can only take on face value what the government have said about the preparedness at our borders, because they've refused a briefing for the Labor opposition, which is very disappointing given how important today is.
It's expected the current airport process is here to stay for now.
We're planning for 12 months, so as I say, we're trying to keep the processes as streamlined and as efficient as we possibly can, so we don't interfere with passengers' experience.
Launceston Airport welcomed a Virgin Australia flight from Sydney this afternoon. It was bittersweet, with some Queensland passengers on board tasting freedom as they disembarked, while others from Sydney went straight onto buses and into hotel quarantine. But that could all change next week.
There's a number of flights in from Sydney penciled already, because obviously that move's been signalled for a few weeks now. So hoping to get some confirmation from that, and that really is critical, because it puts some certainty back into the marketplace as we gear up, as our operators gear up, and as we bring more people back to work.
Launceston will welcome its first flight from a safe state tomorrow night from Brisbane. The airport is expecting 4 flights this week, 4 of those from Brisbane, and they're already full. The airport boss says he's also in talks to trial direct flights over summer between Adelaide and Launceston, which could also bring another welcome boost. Kim?
Okay, thank you very much, Letitia there, Launceston Airport. We're returning to Hobart now, and Ruby Kemain is at Salamanca. Good evening, Ruby. Now, after a tough year, there must be some excitement tonight for many businesses.
That's right, Kim. Many hospitality and tourism operators have been long calling for our borders to reopen as part of their COVID recovery. But tensions have been boiling, with many in the sector questioning why some of the tough restrictions will remain. But regardless, safety measures are in place, as well as preparations, with interstate visitors touching down. Putting the final touches on this hotel room, recently just for locals. Now the pillows have been plumped, ready for tourists.
We've been on life support for nearly 6 months, and so it'd be really great to get off that and get some visitors back into our hotels.
With borders open, interstate bookings are already pouring in here at Hadley's Orient Hotel.
We've seen some longer lead time bookings coming in, and I think after we get through the first few weeks, there'll be quite a few visitors keen to come to Tassie.
Those guests also welcomed by the owners of seafood restaurant Muir's.
It's the evenings where we struggle. It's having the hotels with people in hotels looking for somewhere to eat that I think we've really probably struggled most. So it'll be nice to have some people staying in hotels and coming out and dining out in our restaurants again.
But as patrons from across the Bass Strait flock to Tasmania, the owner of Launceston venue Sporties says they're not allowed in his pub, taking a stand against the no standing while drinking rule and other hospitality restrictions remaining.
It's not that we don't want you, we want you. We just want to have a beer standing up with you. Everyone else in every other state can stand up in their pubs. We're just asking the question, why can't we still?
One of the reasons that we have these rules in place is to ensure that we can minimise the spread or the opportunity for the spread of the disease should it bubble up here. And in terms of the restrictions that are currently in place, they will stay in place for some time.
And with more people coming into Tasmania from today, those COVID-19 safe plans are here to stay. Ramped up even further in aged care facilities, a precaution in case of any new cases.
Prompting questions around, have they got flu-like symptoms, have they been interstate, have they been in contact with anybody that's COVID plus, etc, etc. They'll be prompted to go wash their hands to ensure proper hand hygiene. They'll be asked to sign in electronically, which is part of our contract tracing.
Following the rules, I think even if we have a case, we'll be able to jump on it quickly and contact trace and not have an outbreak.
With extensive preparations undertaken at Glenview to allow residents to finally reunite with loved ones.
There's been a lot of virtual visits that we've been doing for family members who are in those areas that mean they haven't been able to come. So it'll be really exciting to see families connecting again with their loved ones.
Ruby Kemain, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania has officially claimed the title of Best Performing Economy in the nation. According to the latest ComSec report, the state led Australia in 5 key indicators, including population growth, housing finance and retail trade.
This is the 3rd report in a row that Tasmania has been leading all of the other states and jurisdictions, and I think Tasmanians can take some pride in that.
The ACT rose to second position while Victoria dropped to third. The University Residential College has had some unusual visitors, helping students struggling with the stress of exams. Jane Franklin Hall held a dog day at its campus, giving residents a chance to make some four-legged friends.
A furry friend to help with the most hectic time of semester.
I have an exam tomorrow, and I know for me personally, I was quite stressed about it, but I'm feeling a lot more calm and collected at the moment.
The students at Jane Franklin Hall receiving a special delivery. 12 golden retrievers visiting for a play break with the residents.
Having the dogs here today was quite special and made me feel really good about the coming exams.
What we know about dogs is that they bring something to a relationship: unconditional love, acceptance and pure joy.
The dogs love it, and humans do too. Playing with an animal can elevate levels of serotonin and dopamine.
I have never seen a bunch of students so happy as when the dogs are here. It really does allow them to just let go of some of that built-up stress that they've had, and it has been a stressful year.
A break from the dog days in a year that had a little extra bite.
It's been very hectic, very different to what I expected is probably what I would say. Doing uni online is definitely not something I expected.
Students back in the books soon after.
Absolutely, although I did hear some students saying they had to get back to study, but they seem to be procrastinating.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Expert bakers have cooked for a good cause at the RSPCA's annual Cupcake Day. The event, focusing on community groups and businesses, has allowed the charity to resume its fundraising in a COVID-safe way.
We're seeing lots of people doing small events out there in the community, and that's really exciting. It's a little bit different, but lots of fun, and some of the people that have put so much effort into their cupcakes, it's just amazing. There's a lot of hidden talent out there.
The animal advocacy group will use the funds to continue their current projects, including a new retail centre opening soon in Hobart.
Olympia has reinforced why it's this year's Women's Super League champion after an 8-0 thrashing of University, while South Hobart has ended its season with a 3-2 loss to the Kingborough Lions. Laura Davis bagged the first 2 of the game before Amy Ollerington hammered home the side's third. South scored a consolation goal just before the final whistle. 2 games remain in the season.
Good evening. The West had the best weather today. Strawn with 19, the warmest around the state. Hobart 14 today, Launceston 18, Burnie 16, Devonport a top of 17. A cool night with a low of -3 recorded at Butler's Gorge and Mount Wellington. Bushy Park, Friendly Beaches and Smithton all 17 degrees. Lowhead 16. The Bass Strait Islands reached 15 and Grove 14. Low cloud pushed over the east of the state today in an onshore stream. Meanwhile, cloud with a cold front is now over the Tasman Sea. A broad area of low cloud is over the southeast of the continent, including our region. Cloud with thunderstorms over parts of the NT and Queensland. Tomorrow, the high remains to our southwest. A low will form off New South Wales as troughs linger over the far north, east and west of the country. Winds east to southeast at 15 to 25 knots, reaching up to 30 knots in the morning, but generally 10 to 20 knots elsewhere. Swells around the 2 metre mark in western and southern waters. Strong wind warning from Sandy Cape to the far north of Flinders Island. Tuesday, Hobart 14 with a shower or 2. Possible shower for Adventure Bay, 14 the top as well, and 12 the high for Tarraleah. Launceston 18, a cloudy day, 17 the top for Devonport. Bridport cloudy and 15 degrees. Burnie partly cloudy, 16 the top, up to 19 for Strawn. Another nice day tomorrow, 17 for Marrawar. St Helens expecting 14 degrees with a shower or 2. Swansea with a shower blowing in as well, 14, 15 the top for Whitemark. On Wednesday, a shower over the east again, along with central parts and the Bass Strait Islands, maybe later over the north. Showers over the north on Thursday though, and possibly elsewhere in the afternoon. And on Friday, another shower or 2, but not much over the west or northwest. Partly cloudy weather over Perth and Adelaide tomorrow. Melbourne 18 degrees. Showers for Canberra and Sydney with a storm likely over Brisbane and Darwin. Partly cloudy and 12 at the moment in Hobart. It's fine and clear in the north. Launceston 14 and Devonport 13 degrees. Before I go, a big shout out to Speck the sheepdog and his handler Carmen, who took out the top gong at the sheepdog trials over the weekend. Kim, yes, Speck stole the win at the sheepdog trials. Of course, all the other dogs were found guilty.
Please, Murph, the jury is still out on you, let's just say. That's your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us this evening. Good night.